well, and all of you, obviously all of you are part of this team. And for those of you who are not necessarily too familiar, maybe your first time, or maybe you brought along a friend and that friend is not too familiar, my name is Clayton Powell. I am running for Congress. I have been in the community for the last 20 years in public service. First in the New York City Council, New York State Assembly for the last 10 years, and Naomi can attest to that. And some may say, if you don't know my background or my record a little bit, like, here just comes another politician, another cheap politician, or another career politician, they call it. Not at all, folks. When I ran in 1991 for the City Council, I ran against the political machine and won. And in 1997, I could have ran for the City Council again, and instead I decided not to run for re-election for a safe seat, and I ran for Manhattan for a president. I don't believe these jobs are forever. In the year 2000, I ran for the State Assembly against the political machine, and again I won. And this year, I could easily run for another 2 years for the State Assembly and stay there for 2 years or 4 years or 10 years or 20 more years, but instead I'm leaving the State Assembly to run for the United States Congress. That is my full commitment, folks, to this, and I hope that you can be just as committed, because change is coming. Change is coming to Northern Manhattan, and that's not just a catchy phrase. It is true. Change is coming to this political district, to Northern Manhattan. The question is when, and the question is who. We're hoping to answer those questions on September the 14th. Yes, the incumbent has been there for a long time, 40 years. 40 years means from when I was 8 years old to now me with white hair, or salt and pepper at least. That's 40 years. Some of you weren't even born, and some of you were very little, and some of you obviously have changed quite a bit. That's how long this incumbent congressman, yes, Congressman Rangel, has been there. And he has a legacy, undoubtedly, and we will respect that. 40 years creates a legacy. Undoubtedly, he's helped a lot of people, and he's done some good over the years. But the time has come to turn the page. He is no longer chairman of the powerful Ways and Means Committee. The purpose for part of those 40 years, for the last 10, 15, 20, was to re-elect him so that he would one day become chairman of Ways and Means. And he did. He became chairman of Ways and Means in 2006. And in 2006, I remember seeing him at his Christmas party. And I told him that despite our differences, well, of course I ran against him in 1994, and he ran against my dad, and people put all this, soap operas, they hype it up more than they really deserve to, because it's not all that. But I told him that I would be the first one to support him, and I would continue to support him as long as he was chairman of Ways and Means, because that's important for New York. The fact is, that has changed. He is no longer chairman of Ways and Means. So I'm not going to talk about all the troubles and turmoil that he has, but the point is that he's no longer chair of Ways and Means. And that's significant, folks, because following that, he himself did not want to run again. He's 80 years old, he already has a legacy, and he lost that power, as we say in politics. But the people around him, he has, people around him, they want him to run again. And this is important. And it may not sound pretty, because, I don't know as much of politics as Jose Rivera may know. He knows more about this than I do. But the fact is that they want him to get re-elected, and I don't believe he will be, but they want him to get re-elected so that instead of serving for 2 more years, like if I get elected, obviously I'll serve for 2 years and then try to get re-elected if I so deserve. But instead of serving for 2 more years, his people want him to get re-elected and resign and leave, so they can manipulate the process to appoint someone that they like. Now, I don't know about you, Washington Heights, or anybody else, but I, for one, take offense to that, because the people of Northern Manhattan, and only the people of Northern Manhattan, not Charlie Rangel, not Keith Wright, not any other political boss, but only the people should decide who the next congressman will be. Right? That's a fact. Now, Not one day goes by that I don't hear it from somebody different. Oh, Adam, did you know that I heard that it might be David Patterson? Did you know that I heard that Keith Wright, the county leader, he might, you know? So I know it's rumors, but folks, you hear it that many times, you know it could be true, because they know that in an open process, they may not be able to manipulate anyway. So I'm going to stop with that, but the reality is that I have been there, as I mentioned, for 20 years. Not a political hack, not another career politician, but truly representing the interests of the people. All right? The people in East Harlem, the people in the Upper West Side, the people in the Bronx that I represented when I was in the city council, and I have worked with for many, many years, the people of Harlem and the people of Washington Heights. In fact, I have been here, as some of you know, for many, many years. I came in 1996 when Washington Heights had no Dominican political representation, none in the state. And I came here and I helped you elect Adriano Espaillat. And we defeated a political machine back then, Brian Murtaugh. But I came, rolled up my sleeves, and we did it together. And I constantly go with my Dominican brothers and sisters to Dominican Republic, not to just lay out in some beach chair, you know, to be on the front page of the Post. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Not for that. I don't go there for that, okay? I go with a coalition which is called the New York City Coalition for Lead-Free Children. And we go every year with several businessmen from this community, from this neighborhood, and several doctors from this neighborhood to deliver medicine to the Dominican Republic. And I have worked with many of the leadership here on immigration reform. All right, and when I go to Congress, I will be the loudest voice that you will hear on immigration reform, because this country was built on immigrant labor. And it's just too bad that now, 100 years after the Europeans came in here, right? Now, when the faces of the immigrants have changed, because now they're Jamaican, now they're Dominican, now they're Mexican, now they're African, now the faces of the game have changed, they want to change the rules. So now the many people who came in through the doors of opportunity 100 years ago want to slam the door shut on the rest of the people. That's not fair. We're going to make sure that there's a path to citizenship, that people who come here to work hard and provide for their families will have an opportunity. That's my right. That's been my record, and it will continue to be a forceful voice in the Congress. I introduced a resolution, by the way, in the State Assembly calling for a boycott of the Arizona anti-immigration bill. And just today,